Hey, your goal is to speak English fluently like a native English speaker. Well, in order for you to speak English fluently like a native English speaker, you must think and then speak English. This is something that you must learn. And today, in this English lesson, I am going to teach you how to finally think in English and then speak in English like a native English speaker. Are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. The formula to think and speak in English is right here. Who, what, when, where, why. I like to call these 5 W's part of my mind map. They are the main things you need to remember when you're trying to think in English. All right. So again, who, what, when, where, and why. The 5 W's. Now, how can we actually think and speak in English? Look at this image. You see in this image, there are 3 people, but the first part is who. Now you see that I've selected 2 female coworkers. Now, at this stage, everything seems easy. Everything seems simple. What we're doing is we are organizing our thoughts. I'm showing you how important it is to train your mind to think about each of these W's in English, but little chunks, little groups of information in English. All right. And these groups will be important in a few moments. So again, looking at the image, we see 2 female coworkers. We're focusing on them. What? Well, it looks like they're discussing the new project. Again, I'm just coming up with what I think is possibly happening in this image. We are thinking in English. All right. Now, when do we think this is actually occurring? I said before the staff meeting. Again, I'm just thinking these ladies are probably at work and they're discussing a project, probably because they have to talk about the project when they go into the staff meeting. But where are they? All right. So again, we go back to the image. I said they are next to Michael. Now you're probably wondering, teacher, why didn't you say in the office? Or why didn't you say in a room? Well, remember, at this point, you are organizing your thoughts. You're getting little chunks of information. And for me, I wanted to focus on the fact that, it looks like they are sitting next to a man. I think that man's name is Michael. At this stage, it's whatever you think. We're practicing using this image. All right. So why? Let's see the why for what's going on. They have to fix an issue. All right. So now we have our 5 pieces of information, the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why. So the think step is done, right? We've thought about what's going on in the image. We have our little chunks of information. Now we need to speak. So let me show you how I combine all the information and I can create multiple sentences. Okay. So again, we have the who, what, when, where, and why. Well, my first sentence could be 2 female coworkers are discussing the new project before the staff meeting. Oh yeah. That was a good sentence. But why? Because I already had the 5 W's. I already organized my thoughts. So I was able to speak. I was able to create a sentence, which is what you are going to be able to do after this lesson. But I can change up the sentence. Same information in my mind, but I could also say, do you see the 2 female coworkers trying to fix the issue next to Michael? I suddenly created a question using the same groups of information that I already had in my mind because I thought about the picture using the 5 W's. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. We have one more sentence. Look at this sentence. I could say, the 2 female coworkers next to Michael are trying to fix the issue before the staff meeting. All right. So again, what I'm doing is I am organizing the information that I have in my mind and I'm creating sentences so that I can actually speak. All right, now let's go to another image. Here we go. This one is of a man. Now, this man is sitting with his dog and Well, to say who is it? I've chosen a bearded man and his dog. Now I'm going to raise my chair a little bit so you guys can see me better. All right. Is that better for you? Is that better for you? All right. So again, for this image, I chose to say it's a bearded man and his dog. Again, you can choose whatever you want for this step. We're just organizing our thoughts, thinking first in English. All right. Now, what's he doing? I said, well, he's just relaxing. Maybe you said he's sitting in a yellow chair, or maybe you said he's looking around him. Again, you can choose the pieces or bits of information for the 5 W's. Now, where is he or when? I said on Sunday afternoon. Where? On his front porch. Now, let me explain what a front porch is. All right, so in America, in many other countries as well, but in America, we have houses, right? We say single family homes, right? A house where one family lives together. And sometimes on the front, in front of that house, they'll have an extra area, an extra space where you can sit a chair and right next to your front door and just look outside at people while you're sitting out there. We call that area the front, remember the front of the house, porch, the area where you can sit down and you can stand, but it's an area out front in front of your house. We say front porch. All right. So in my opinion, he's on his front porch. Now, but why is he on his front porch? This is what I said. He had a long day at work. Now, again, let me explain this. Long day at work. I know that you know each of those individual words, but in English, when we say I had a long day, it means I worked a lot. I worked for a long period of time and I'm really tired. All 3 of those things wrapped in one expression. So I had a long day. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, I think he had a long day. So he needed to relax on his front porch, right? So now I have all my bits or chunks of information. I've organized my thoughts using the 5 W's. And now I want to create sentences so that I can speak in English. So let's see what our sentences look like. Here we go. A bearded man is relaxing with his dog on his front porch because he had a long day at work. I know you like, teacher, woo, that's an advanced sentence. You know, I try. So again, you're seeing what's happening, right? The first step is thinking, right? Organizing your thoughts in little chunks using the 5 W's. This makes it so much easier to make an advanced English sentence and speak English like a native English speaker. But let's see some other examples again, all right? Using our chunks of information, we have right here. He likes to sit on his front porch on Sunday afternoons after a long day at work. Again, same pieces of information, same chunks that we organized and thought about in the first part. But now I'm creating a different sentence and able to speak in English very naturally. Now, what about the third example sentence? Here we go. On Sunday afternoon, he sat on his front porch with his dog and relaxed after a long day at work. Man, I'm telling you, if you just organize your thoughts in the first step with these 5 W's and these small chunks, you can create these sentences so easily, a lot easier. I got a little fumbled right there. You can create them a lot easier than you had before. All right. So let's see again what's going on in our brain. All right. This is what's happening. Again, you're putting all these multiple chunks of information into your brain. Then they get stored inside of your brain. You see, what happens is currently you have a lot of chunks of information in your mother tongue. You know how to talk about your morning, your breakfast, your job, your clothing, your house, your family, because you have stored chunks of information in your mother tongue. Now what we're doing is practicing how to do this in English, storing chunks of information, these thoughts in our mind based on the 5 W's. Then later on, you can gather from these chunks to speak. So let's continue again. You see what's going on in your mind. So we have another image. This man, I say, who is he? He's an artist. You guys know I love art, right? So, okay, but what is he doing? looking at the picture, what is he doing exactly? Well, I'd say he's painting. When? When is he painting? I'd say after teaching his students. Now, again, these are chunks of information that I'm gathering in my mind, but you can gather your own little chunks for the 5 W's. Now, when and where is he doing this? Looking at the image, wow, it looks like he's outside, but maybe he's in his outdoor studio. And why? He enjoys it so much. Again, so I have gathered all of my pieces of information and they're stored here. Now I need to speak. I've thought in English. Now I need to speak in English. Here are my sentences. First, I said, the artist was painting after he finished teaching his students. Now you see, I threw it to the past. You can go back and forth, right? Now, what about the second sentence? I could say, the artist was painting after he finished teaching his students in his outdoor studio. Again, same pieces of information. I'm just organizing them differently to make advanced English sentences and speak like a native English speaker. And finally, this example. Here we go. After teaching his students, the artist, what? Decided to paint in his outdoor studio because he enjoyed it so much. Again, same chunks of information, but I'm making advanced English sentences. But don't worry, we're going to keep practicing because I want you to get this pattern. Thinking and speaking, using the 5 W's as chunks of information. All right. So look at this image. She's in her car. She's driving. Who is this? Well, I'm going to say, well, it's the woman in the image. But what is she doing? She's driving. Now, you see, we're going a little faster because you're getting the hang of it now, right? It's making sense. Like, teacher, I see what you're doing, teacher. Looking at the image. Now, let's see when. Now, I'm going to say next week. Where? To Dallas, Texas. Now, you see that I'm really expanding my thoughts because we don't see Dallas, Texas in this image, but I'm practicing. I'm practicing thinking in English using little chunks and seeing how I can form these chunks into sentences later to speak in English. All right. Now, why? Here we go. A big company conference. All right. So again, I have my chunks and I'm thinking, okay, this lady is, she's going to Dallas. There's a big conference. But now I need to make a sentence. So here's my first sentence. Here we go. The woman will drive to Dallas, Texas next week for a big company conference. Okay. I made an advanced sentence because of my chunks of information. Now, second, let's see. How can I change it up? Next week, the woman has to drive to Dallas, Texas for a big company conference. Yes, same information, new sentence. And finally, the woman will drive to Dallas, Texas next week because her company is holding a big conference. All right. So again, we saw that we took the chunks of information based on the 5 W's. We thought about them. Again, simple thoughts, simple chunks of information. And then these chunks went in and came out into advanced English sentences and enabled me to speak like a native English speaker. All right. So again, thinking and speaking in English. So this mind map, this way of organizing your thoughts using who, what, when, where, and why can help you speak in English like a native English speaker. But you have to practice. Practice section number 1. So let's say we're talking about our daily life. And we're going to start with our morning routine. Look at this man. He's working out hard, but we want to describe what he's doing like a native English speaker. So we must think in English. Who is he? His name is Mike. He's 50 years old. What is Mike doing? Mike is working out hard. When? At 6 a.m. every morning. Where? At a large gym not too far from his house. And why? He learned the importance of discipline from working on a farm and the importance of staying in shape from his military background. So again, what have we done? We have thought in English. We saw what was happening. This man was building muscles, and he does it every morning. This is his morning routine, and we use the 5 W's. So now, how do we speak in English about his morning routine? So once again, we have the 5 W's here, organized: who, what, when, where, and why, which will lead us to speaking about his morning routine. Watch this. Read along with me. I am 50 years old, but I still work out hard at 6 a.m. every morning. I usually exercise at a large gym, not too far from my house. People always say my consistency is impressive. Honestly, I learned the importance of discipline from working on a farm and the importance of staying in shape from my time in the military. You see what just happened, right? Using the 5 W's, we thought about his morning routine, and then we were able to speak. Think and then speak. Now, I want to break down some of the words, some of the vocabulary words within this speaking portion. But I want to remind you to use the 5 W's to talk about your own morning routine. Now, I see a word in here that maybe you don't know. The first word is consistency. Good. After me again, consistency. Excellent. Now, the word consistency just means the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way, or of always happening in a similar way. So let me explain something to you really quickly about this word. Remember who I am. Your English teacher, right? So every Sunday, I make it a point to upload an English lesson. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern, right? So I want to do it on a regular basis. My behavior, my pattern is uploading English lessons for you on Sundays. So I am trying to practice consistency. Makes sense, right? You got it. Now, maybe you have a little bit of trouble with the pronunciation. I want to remind you to download the English with Tiffany app. Within the app, there are many lessons and courses, but I have a specific course on pronunciation that will help you. So you can download that course. You can download the app. All right, so consistency. Now let's go back again and look at what was said. The next word was impressive. Impressive. So after me, impressive. Excellent. Again, impressive. Good job. Now, this word impressive is also very important. If an object or achievement is impressive, you admire or respect it, usually because it is special, important, or very large. So, for example, me, when I think about you as a student, as an English learner, learning a second language or a third language, and for many of you, a fourth language, English is not your mother tongue. I am impressed. Your abilities are impressive. Why? You are learning another language. You are so intelligent. So that's an achievement. You are very impressive. Makes sense, right? So again, we said that Mike's morning routine is impressive. All right, now there's another one that I want us to look at very quickly. The other one was discipline. Again, discipline. Excellent. All right, now what does the word discipline actually mean? It's the ability to control yourself or other people, even in difficult situations. So, maybe your favorite dessert is ice cream. Woo! When you see the ice cream, you want to eat it all. But you're on a diet. You're trying to lose weight. So you have to be disciplined. You have to control yourself from eating all of the ice cream. Makes sense, right? In English, we say discipline. Are you a very disciplined person? Let us know in the comment section. All right. So we have discipline. Now, once again, looking at what was said to describe his morning routine. We have all of the information and we're able to speak about his morning routine because we first thought about his morning routine using the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Now, before we move to the afternoon routine, I want you in the comment section to write about your personal morning routine. Now, remember again, using the thought section. Thinking in English, you must first, again, say who, what, when, where, and why. So let us know about your morning routine in the comment section, all right? Here we go. Let's move on to the afternoon routine. Again, you're going to notice this pattern. Think, speak, think, speak. Think using the 5 W's, and then you'll be able to speak fluently in English. Here we go, afternoon routine. Let's look at this afternoon routine. Maybe you're at work and you have to have lots of meetings with your coworkers. So who? My team members and I. We are web designers. What? Go to a team meeting in the afternoon. When? Around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Where? In the big conference room down the hall from my office. Why? To discuss how we will create all of the images, layouts, and videos for a new corporate website. So once again, what did we do? We thought about the afternoon routine. Who, what, when, where, and why. We're organizing our thoughts about this period of time. You can do it for any situation. Now we've thought about it. Again, we have the 5 W's very clearly broken down for the afternoon routine. So how would we now speak about the afternoon routine? Here we go. This is how we would say all of that information. I am a web designer and I work with a great team. Got it? Almost every day we have a team meeting at around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Got it? When? Our team meetings are in the big conference room down the hall from my office. Got it? Where? We meet to discuss how we will create all of the images, layouts, and videos for a new corporate website. Got it. I explained why. So because we thought about our afternoon routine, 5 W's, we were able to speak fluently in English about our afternoon routines. Again, think and speak. Simple formula. Use the 5 W's and bow, you'll start sounding like a native English speaker. Now, within our answer, there were about 3 things that I want to explain to you. So here we go. I want to explain the first one. The first one is at around. Let me take this off the screen very quickly. At around. Now this means near or close to, approximately, and it usually refers to a numerical value or point in time. So for example, let's say you're gonna have a party. You're gonna have a party? All right, so you're gonna have a party, right? And you say, hey guys, my party starts at 3 p.m. Everyone's like, okay, I'll be there. But then one of your friends says, oh my goodness, I have to work that day and I get off at 3 p.m. But I'll rush there and I think I can get there at around 3:45. It means approximately. I'm going to try to get there at that time. In English, we use at around. So again, look at how we used it in this situation. We said we have a team meeting at around 2 p.m., meaning approximately. Makes sense, right? Okay, now what about down the hall from? I said down the hall from. Now this is also something we use on a regular basis. So down the hall from means it specifies a location along the hall. Like if you're in a building, there's a hallway. So down the hall from means you're talking about a certain place along the hallway. It means further along the hall from a specific location. I'm in this spot, but it's further down from me. It's down the hall from ... So my office is down the hall from my boss's office. The bathroom is down the hall from the conference room. You see what's happening, right? You're telling where something is in relation to something else. In English, we say down the hall from. So in this example, speaking about his afternoon routine, her afternoon routine, we said our meetings are in the big conference room down the hall from my office. Makes sense, right? Okay, now there was one more that I wanted to explain. It was corporate. Corporate. Now again, after me for pronunciation, corporate. Excellent. Now, we saw how we use this. We said the last sentence, we meet to discuss how we will create all of the images, layouts, and videos for a new corporate website. All right? So what does corporate mean? Corporate actually means relating to a large company. So think about Apple. I love Apple computers. I love Apple products. Apple is a huge company. Now, the main office could be referred to as the corporate office or the headquarters. So, corporate just refers to a large company. So, when we explained the afternoon routine, we said they meet to discuss what they're going to do for the large company website or the corporate website. Makes sense, right? So now we understand corporate. So again, we were able to speak about the afternoon routine like a native English speaker, very fluently, simply because we first thought about it in English. One more time. Who, what, when, where, and why. All of these pieces of information were included in our response when we spoke about the afternoon routine. So what about the evening routine? All right, so here we go. Evening routine. Maybe you enjoy hanging out with your friends. So we have to start with, again, the who. My closest friends and I, they're my elementary school friends. What? We go out to eat. When? Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Where? Popular restaurants in our area. Why? We are all foodies and we enjoy spending time with each other after work. Now, I want to pause really quickly and emphasize something again. This phase, this step, this stage is very simple. It doesn't matter what level you are in English. You can think of who you were with, what you did very simply, where you were, why, and when. Again, the thinking portion is simple. Breaking it down using the 5 W's, right? Now, we have everything that you do in the evening with your friends, having a great time. Now we need to speak in English about your evening routine. So here we go. Evening routine, using all of the information we gathered from the 5 W's. My closest friends and I have known each other since elementary school. Usually we try to hang out every Thursday at 7 p.m. We go out to eat at popular restaurants in our area because we are all foodies. But more importantly, we truly enjoy spending time with each other after work. Now, you know how natural that sounded, right? But look, I just used the 5 W's, and you can do the same thing to sound like a native English speaker. Now, there are a few words and expressions that I'd like to go over with you. The first one is hang out. After me, hang out. Excellent. Now, let me explain what hang out actually means. Here we go. It means to spend time relaxing or socializing informally, or to spend a lot of time in a place or with someone. Hey, spend time with your friends at a restaurant. I used to enjoy cooking for my friends when I lived in South Korea. I loved it, and I would invite them over and we would hang out, spend time together. So in the comment section, I want you to tell us, where do you like to hang out? Do you like to hang out at the mall, at your friend's house? Maybe you like to go to a cafe. Where do you like to hang out? Let us know in the chat section, all right? So we say hang out in English. So again, looking at it, what do we see? We, my closest friends and I, usually try to hang out every Thursday at 7 p.m. Now, I want us to look at the next one. Go out to eat. You may have heard this one or you may not have. This just means, again, to eat at a restaurant or away from one's home. So I mentioned earlier that I love cooking, but sometimes it's nice to go to a restaurant, to let somebody else cook for me, to let somebody else cook for myself and my friends. So we go out. We're not inside. We go out to eat. Let us know in the chat section, where do you like to go out to eat? Maybe in your country there are some amazing restaurants. Where do you like to go out to eat? I love going to Indian restaurants. As you all know, I love Indian food and Mexican food as well. So we say go out to eat in English. And again, we said go out to eat at popular restaurants. Now, the last one I want to explain is a popular one. Foodie. You got it. F sound, front teeth, bottom lip. After me, foodie. Excellent. All right, now let me explain what a foodie is. A foodie is a person with a particular interest in food, or a person who loves a food and is very interested in different types of food. Yes, I consider myself to be a foodie. I love so many different types of food. I love Indian, I love Haitian, I love Mexican, I love Mediterranean because the food is delicious. So I consider myself to be a foodie because I'm so interested in food. Maybe you're a foodie as well, all right? So we say foodie in English, and we explain that my friends and I are foodies. Makes sense, right? Okay, so again, what we did was we were able to explain, talk about, speak English fluently about my or your or their evening routine simply because we first thought about it in English. Who, what, when, where, and why. And then we were able to give the response like a native English speaker. Practice section number 2. So the first relationship we're going to learn about and think about is the relationship between friends. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my friends by organizing my thoughts using the 5 W's. For who? I've said my friends from college. For what? Acted together in a drama group. When? My sophomore, junior, and senior year. Where? At churches, high schools, colleges, and other local events. Now, why? We all had a passion for spreading God's word in a way that was fun, engaging, and impactful. Now, you see what just happened? I want to tell you about the relationship I have with my friends, but I first organized my thoughts using the 5 W's, and you need to do the same thing. So the thought process is done. Now let's speak about the relationship I have with my friends. So we're going to take that information that we had from right here with the 5 W's, and now we're going to go to speaking. Here we go. My college friends and I used to act together in a drama group. We were in the drama group during our sophomore, junior, and senior years. Our drama group was pretty popular. So we would do plays at churches, high schools, colleges, and other local events. We all enjoyed acting in the drama group because we had a passion for spreading God's word in a way that was fun, engaging, and impactful. Now that is a great English response. That is a fluent English answer, and I want you to be able to do the same. Again, thinking first about the relationship using the 5 W's, and then speaking. Now, within my answer, there were 2 new vocabulary words that I really want to explain to you very quickly. The first one is engaging. So repeat after me. Engaging. Excellent. Last time, engaging. Very good. Now, this word just means tending to draw favorable attention or interest. Think about your favorite TV show or your favorite movie. When you push play, you get really into it. Someone may talk to you, say, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm watching this movie because it's engaging. Hopefully, this English lesson is engaging. All right, this means holding your attention. And our drama group had very, very engaging plays. They were very interesting. So again, engaging. Excellent. All right, now the next word is impactful. After me, impactful. Excellent. Last time, impactful. Good job. Now, this word just means having a major impact or effect. It means affecting you in a way that is powerful. So think about the words your mother or your father say to you or said to you when you were younger. Those words really had an impact on you. They affected you, right? We say impactful. And the plays that I did with my friends when I was in college were very impactful. Makes sense, right? Think about it. I just organized my thoughts using the 5 W's, and now you have a good understanding of the relationship I had with my friends when I was in college. Make sense? All right, now let's move on to the next relationship. I mentioned parents. I mentioned how your parents speak to you and the impact of their words. So using the 5 W's, thinking about the relationship. First, we have who? My friend and his 6-year-old son. What? He spends time reading to him. When? Every evening after work. Where? In their family room. Why? He wants to develop a strong bond with his son and teach him the importance of reading every single day. Now again, we're still on step 1. We're just thinking and organizing our thoughts. But you can already start to see that we have enough information to properly speak about the relationship this guy has with his 6-year-old son. So using the information again, the 5 W's from right here, let's see how we can speak about this relationship. Here we go. My friend and his 6-year-old son have a great relationship. Even though my friend has a ton of responsibility at work, he always makes a point to spend time reading to his son. He usually reads to him every evening after he gets off from work. Their favorite reading spot is the living room. My friend told me that he wants to develop a strong bond with his son and teach him the importance of reading every single day. What happened? Because we did step 1, think, organizing our thoughts with the 5 W's, we were able to provide a good and fluent English answer describing the relationship this guy has with his son, a parent-child relationship. Now, you will see that there are a few words and expressions that I want to explain to you. So very quickly, a ton of. After me, a ton of. Good. Again, last time, a ton of. Excellent. Now, a ton of just means a lot of something, a large amount of something. So, for example, I have some cords with me in my office. And these cords help me connect some of my devices, whether it be my cell phone or my computer or another electronic device to my computer or to a power source. So I have a ton of cords in my office. Again, a lot of cords. Makes sense, right? Okay, good. Now let's go over the next one. Make a point to. In the answer, I said he always makes a point to spend time reading to his son. Well, makes a point to just means to give one's attention to doing something to make sure that it happens. For example, once a week on Sundays, I have a video English lesson for you. So I make a point to record, organize my ideas and my thoughts, and produce a lesson that will help you speak English fluently. I make a point to record a video every week. Makes sense, right? All right, good. Now, the last one I want to explain is right here. Spot. In the answer, in the response, I said their favorite reading spot is the living room. Spot just means a particular place or point. So my favorite food spot, my favorite reading spot. Again, just a place or point. Real simple, right? So again, spot. Excellent, very good. Now we've went over the relationship between friends and the relationship between a parent and a child using the 5 W's for step 1, to think, using the 5 W's, and then we were able to do step 2, speak fluently about the relationship. But what about the relationship you have with your coworkers? Think about it. You see them every day. How can you talk about this relationship? Well, first we have to start with the 5 W's. Who? My coworkers and I. What? Discussed the new semester schedule. Now, I'll pause real quick. I'm speaking about my coworkers when I used to work at a language institute. So we had different semesters, different periods of time where we would teach the students different subjects. Still English, but different subtopics under English. So again, for me, what? Discussed the new semester schedule. When? Every 2 months. Where? In the staff room at our institute. And why? We had to decide who was going to teach which levels and what classes worked best with our personal responsibilities. So again, step 1, we've thought about it. Using the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why, we thought about the relationship I had with my coworkers. You can do the exact same thing. 5 W's. Now, using the information from the 5 W's, again, who, what, when, where, and why, I can now do step 2 and speak about the relationship I had with my coworkers. Here we go. Every 2 months, my coworkers and I would come together to discuss the new semester schedule. Our meetings were usually held in the staff room at our institute. It was important for us to get together every 2 months because we had to decide who was going to teach which levels and what classes worked best with our personal responsibilities. I literally just provided you with the information that came from step 1, where I thought about the relationship using the 5 W's. You see how simple it is to think and then speak in English? I'm telling you, this formula will change your life and help you sound more like a native English speaker. Now, there is one expression that I want to explain to you. It's worked best. Let's see real quick. Worked best. All right. Now, work best. This just means it's the better option between 2 options. So there are 2 options you have, but this seems to work the best. So, like I said, what classes worked best with our personal responsibilities? Did one teacher work better with children while another teacher worked better with adults? We discussed those things. So again, in English, we say work best. Excellent. Very good. So again, the only thing you have to remember when you want to speak fluently in English about a relationship is to first think, using the 5 W's to organize your thoughts. And then step 2, speak. That's right. Use the information you organized and then speak about that relationship. Practice section number 3. Now, I mentioned earlier that you must use the 5 W's. So let's look at this situation. We're talking about goals, and his goal is to speak English fluently. So what would the first W be? It would be who? Michael, an intermediate English learner. What? He studies English regularly. When? Every afternoon prior to eating dinner. Where? At the local bookstore. Why? He wants to speak English fluently and travel abroad. Now, what just happened? We organized our thoughts, right, about this young man's goal to speak English fluently. using the 5 W's. Now we clearly understand what his goal is and why he has this goal. So now we need to use what we organized in our minds using the 5 W's to speak in English. So here we go. Here's the response using the 5 W's right here. Read along with me. Michael is an intermediate English learner. He has made it a habit to study English on a regular basis. So, every afternoon prior to eating dinner, he goes to study English at the local bookstore. Whenever someone asks him why he is studying so hard, Michael says it is because he wants to speak English fluently and travel abroad. Now that is a fluent English response. This response is an advanced English response, and you can do the same thing when someone asks you about your English goal. Now, there are a few expressions that I want to go over in this response. So I want you to look very closely. The first one is make it a habit to do something. Make it a habit to do something. Now, this just means if you make a habit of doing something, you do it regularly or often. So it can be in the past or right now. I made it a habit of doing ... I make it a habit of doing ... It just means you do it regularly or often. Just like Michael studies regularly. He makes it a habit to study English. Now, the other one is prior to. This is also a very important one. Every afternoon prior to eating dinner. Prior to just means before a particular time or event. So, I like to call my parents prior to starting my day. Before I start working hard, I want to check in on my parents. Prior to, before a particular time or event. In English, we say prior to. So now we have a good understanding of what Michael's goals are related to English, and we simply started with step 1, thinking in English using the 5 W's about his goal. Now, what if we talked about another situation, another goal that many of us have, a goal dealing with health? We again must use the 5 W's to think in English. Who? Michelle, a mother of 2 young children. What does she do? She does a vigorous workout with her coach. When? Every morning at the crack of dawn. Where? At the 24-hour gym in her neighborhood. Why? She wants to get back in shape and lose all of her baby fat. So what's happening? Again, this is step 1, thinking in English. In order to speak English fluently, you must start with the 5 W's. We've organized our thoughts about Michelle's goals, and we're very clear why she is so focused on getting in shape. Now let's see, if we use the 5 W's, what would her response be? Here we go. Read along with me. Michelle is a mother of 2 young children. Every morning at the crack of dawn, Michelle gets up and does a vigorous workout with her coach. She usually exercises at the 24-hour gym in her neighborhood. Michelle works out so hard because she wants to get back in shape and finally lose all of her baby fat. So what happened? Again, speaking about her health goal, using the 5 W's first to think in English, organizing our ideas no matter what the topic is. When you do that first, you can give a fluent English response. Now, in this response, there were a few words and expressions that I wanted to explain to you. The first one is vigorous. Yeah, I know this can be a little bit tricky. After me again. Vigorous. Excellent. Now, this word vigorous just means very forceful, energetic, or intense. we say vigorous. A lot of times when you go to the gym to exercise, you're running on the treadmill, maybe you're lifting weights or doing something, you usually sweat a lot, right? Very intense workout, very vigorous. You got it? Now, I want to pause really quickly because sometimes you have trouble with pronunciation, like vigorous is hard. I want to encourage you again to get the English with Tiffany app because I have some pronunciation lessons in the app that will help you. Many of you already have downloaded the app. You can download it for free. There are certain paid portions, but you can download it for free and start learning and improving your pronunciation, learning new words, sentences, and so much more. I do believe that this app will help you with your pronunciation so that when you come up to words like this, vigorous, again, in the app I explain, front teeth, bottom lip, and vibrate. Vigorous. Excellent job. Very good. Now, the other word, the other expression was back in shape. She wants to get back in shape. Now, when you say back in shape, it just means that the person saying it once was a healthy, in shape person, nice body, good shape, and wants to get back to being healthy and in shape again. Think about a mother that is pregnant, 9 months. Her body changes shape because it has to fit and accommodate a baby. Once the baby is delivered, there's lots of excess weight. So this mother, Michelle, wants to get rid of that and get back in shape. Makes sense, right? Now, she mentioned something else. She mentioned that she wants to get rid of her baby fat. Yeah, baby fat. Now, baby fat is used to refer to mothers. When it's used to refer to mothers, it means the excess fat remaining after childbirth. 9 months of having an extra human being in your belly. Your skin has stretched. There's a lot of excess fat. We call that baby fat when we are speaking about mothers. So again, after me, baby fat. Excellent. All right, so we were able to speak English fluently about her situation. Why? Because we first thought in English using the 5 W's to think about her health goal. Now, what if we talk about money or career or a success goal? Look at this individual right here. He looks like he's successful. His goal is to be more successful. Who is he? Samuel, an ambitious stockbroker. What? He studies every publication, article, and website about the stock market. When? Day in and day out. Where? In New York. Why? He wants to be the most acclaimed stockbroker in New York history. Now, what just happened? We organized our thoughts using the 5 W's to talk about his goal, his success goal, right? So our thoughts are organized. We understand this man, Samuel. He's an ambitious stockbroker. Now, how about speaking English fluently using this information? Here we go. Again, right here, follow along with me. Samuel is an ambitious New York stockbroker. His main goal is to one day be the most acclaimed stockbroker in New York history. So in order to reach his goal, Samuel studies every publication, article, and website about the stock market. He does this day in and day out. Every piece of information from the 5 W's is included in this response, and that's why it's an advanced English response. Now, in this response, there are a few words and expressions that I want to explain to you. So check this one out right here. Here we go. The first one is acclaimed, right here. Acclaimed. Excellent. Last time. Acclaimed. Good job. Now, this just means receiving public praise and approval, like amazing. Yes, you are amazing. Receiving public approval. He wants to be the most acclaimed stockbroker. Makes sense, right? All right, now what about this one right here? Day in and day out. Again, after me. Day in and day out. Excellent. Now, this just means every day for a long time, especially in a way that is boring or unpleasant. We say day in or day out. For example, let's say you don't like your job, but you have to get up every morning, go to work for 8 hours, day in and day out. Every day you have to do this, and it's boring, right? Because you don't enjoy your job. In English, we say day in and day out. Makes sense, right? All right, so you see again, we have all 5 W's included in this response, which makes it an advanced English response. The 5 W's we organized in step 1, thinking about Samuel, an ambitious stockbroker. This is again how you speak English fluently. Think and speak in English. Use the 5 W's, organize your thoughts, and then speak like a native English speaker. Practice section number 4. So here's the situation. We see this individual, and the first W is who? Well, I'm saying her name is Samantha, and she's a journalist. What? She's writing articles about health. When? Every morning. Where? At a community workspace. Why? She has always enjoyed sharing information about staying healthy. Now, if we just pause really quickly, we see that we've organized our thoughts using the 5 W's. Looking at that short clip, we have an idea of what type of work this individual does, and we can actually speak in English fluently about her job. Watch what happens. Again, we have each W right here, and now let me show you what happens when we try to speak in English using the 5 W's. Here we go. Samantha is currently working as a journalist for a newspaper in her hometown. Every morning, she writes articles about health at the local community workspace. Being a journalist brings her so much joy because she has always enjoyed sharing information about staying healthy. Now listen, if Samantha were telling us about her job as a journalist, and she said this about herself, it would be an amazing answer. And if you, speaking about Samantha's job, described it like this, it would be an amazing answer, a fluent English response. Why? Because each of the 5 W's can be found in this response. Once again, let's go back and take a look. Samantha writes articles about health every morning, community workspace. She enjoys sharing information. Each and every piece of the 5 W's can be found in this response. Now, I do want to pause really quickly because there are 2 things I'd like to go over. First is right here, hometown. Now, I want you to repeat after me, hometown. Excellent. Last time after me, hometown. Great job. Now, hometown is just the town of one's birth or early life or of one's present fixed residence where you're staying for a while. So my hometown is actually Maryland. I was raised in Maryland, and I actually still, at the time of this recording, currently live in Maryland. It's my hometown. Makes sense, right? Now, there's one other aspect of this response that I want to explain. Because Samantha, as a journalist, she receives joy from sharing information. So the expression is right here. Brings someone joy. After me, brings someone joy. Excellent. Last time after me, brings someone joy. Great job. Now, this just refers to something that brings joy is something that makes people experience joy or have joy. For example, it can be a person or a thing. My nieces bring me so much joy. They actually spent the weekend with me. We watched movies, ate food, we had a great time. But your hobby can also bring you joy. Someone else can bring you joy. Again, a very commonly used expression. Brings someone joy. All right, now what about a different type of job? You may say, teacher, okay, journalism, that's kind of easy to talk about, easy to organize your thoughts about. What about this one right here? Whoa, who is this? Let's start with the first W. Mark, a professional metal worker. What? He builds heavy machinery. When? For the last 10 years. Where? At his family's metal shop. Why? He is the most skilled metal worker in his family. So we have an entirely different job, but we're still using the 5 W's to think in English and then speak. So let's see how we can turn this information into a good English response. Here we go. Here's the response. Now we're speaking. Mark has been working as a professional metal worker for the last 10 years. He is well known for his metal work in the community. He is also the most skilled metal worker in his family. So he enjoys building heavy machinery at the metal shop his family owns. Come on now. That right there, if you were my student when I was in South Korea, and you were trying to take a level test, trying to see if you were a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced level learner, I would have given you an advanced level for this response because each of the 5 W's has been answered. Again, we see right here each of the 5 W's that we just listed earlier. Now, within this response, there are a few things that I do want to go over. The first one being well known. All right, so repeat after me. Well known. Excellent. Last time after me. Well known. Good job. And this just means known widely or thoroughly. A lot of people know about this individual or this person's skills or this thing. It is, he is, they are well known. So again, in our response, wow, listen, Mark is good. He is well known in the community. Now, the other expression I want to explain is right here. Heavy machinery. So I want you to repeat after me. Heavy machinery. Excellent. Again, after me. Heavy machinery. Great job. Now, this just refers to large pieces of machinery or equipment, especially those used in the building industry. So again, let's take a look at that video one more time. Look at what he's using. He's using heavy machinery. So once again, large pieces of machinery or equipment, especially those used in the building industry. So we have that down. We have a journalist, we have a metal worker. We can talk about jobs using this think in English, think and speak in English theory, right? The 5 W's. But what about this job? This is a different type of job. Right here, we have this individual, and let's start with the first W. Who? John, an accountant for a small tech shop. What? He crunches the numbers. Now, don't worry, I'm going to explain that to you. All right? When? At the close of business. Where? In the supply room. Why? He learned the importance of regularly balancing your books. Again, remember, we're trying to think and speak in English, and this focus is on different jobs. This lesson is focused on explaining your job, explaining someone's job using the 5 W's. So we have the 5 W's clearly broken down. How can we turn this into a response? Here we go. Now we're speaking. We thought in English, the first step, think. Now the second step, speak. Here we go. John is an accountant for a small tech shop downtown. In school, he learned what it meant to balance the books. So, as a rule of thumb, he crunches the numbers in the supply room at the close of business every day. Man, we have a lot of information about John and him as an accountant and what he does and even how he learned it. Again, a very good English response, speaking like a native English speaker. Now, I do want to go over a few things. There are three things in this response that are really important. The first is balance the books. After me, balance the books. Excellent. Last time after me, balance the books. Great job. Now, this means to ensure that the figures regarding credit and debit are correct and to determine the remaining balance as in a business or in personal finance. Again, let's say you have a certain amount in your bank account and you spend a certain amount during the day. You need to make sure you didn't spend more than you had in your account. So you need to balance your books. Make sense? All right. Now another one, again, expressions used in accounting. Now, this one is just a general expression. You can use it in any situation. A rule of thumb. After me, a rule of thumb. Excellent. Last time after me, a rule of thumb. Great job. Now, this just means a method of procedure based on experience and common sense. Again, as a rule of thumb, he does something every day. Hey, this makes sense. It makes sense for me to balance the books every day. This is a method that I've been using for a while, and it makes sense because I've done it. And in my experience, it's really good. So, as a rule of thumb. Now, the last one is right here. He said, crunch the numbers. We're talking about him and his job. Crunch the numbers. So after me, crunch the numbers. Excellent. Last time after me, crunch the numbers. Great job. Now, to process numbers. The meaning of this is to process numbers, meaning to examine, to analyze the numbers, especially to determine exactly how much money is available, needed, or something else. Again, very similar to balancing the books, but you're just trying to make sure, hey, do we have enough to cover what we want to do? We need to crunch the numbers. Okay? You got it? Excellent. Now, this is how you actually speak about any job in English. You first think using the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, and why, and then you speak. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I want you to try to do it at least one time today. I'll talk to you next time. You still there? You know what time it is. It's story time. Hey, I said it's story time. All right. So, in today's lesson, I taught you about thinking and speaking in English about different jobs, right? So I want to tell you a story about one of my first jobs. I had an internship when I was in high school. Now, I was a junior in high school, so I was about 15 or 16 years old. And I wanted a job for the summer. You want to make a little extra money when you're a kid. You want to get your own things. So I was able to find a government internship. Now, in America, getting a government internship as a young person, whoo, that's amazing. So I was so happy to have been accepted into the internship program. I remember my first day walking into the job. You have to make sure you look nice. Had my little bag, and I was ready. I went through the security, and I went to my office. They gave me a nice desk. It wasn't a full office, but I had my own desk, my own computer, and I was just very excited. And I remember sitting down and, waiting for my first assignment, and I was just so happy to have a job. Now, as the day was going on, I was doing a little bit of work because I was brand new. So they didn't have a lot of work for me to do on that first day, but they still were letting me know how things basically ran in that office. But I remember my coworker. It was about maybe 10 o'clock. I got to work around 7:30. And around 10 o'clock, I started to notice that people really weren't in the office. It wasn't lunchtime. I said, where is everyone? So my coworker, she actually said, oh, hey, Tiffany, what are you doing? I said, I was just waiting for my next assignment. She said, oh, girl, listen. In the government, we get a 15-minute break in the morning and a 15-minute break in the afternoon. I said, oh, you mean like as a part of our lunch break? She said, no, honey, we get a lunch break and we get a 15-minute morning break and a 15-minute afternoon break. I said, wait a minute. She said, yeah, people get smoking breaks, but we don't smoke. So for those that don't smoke, you still deserve a break. I said, I agree wholeheartedly with you. Listen, y'all, when I say every morning I took my 15-minute break and every afternoon I took another 15-minute break. And I remember there was this small room at the building, inside of the building that I worked in, and it was like a quiet room. You could go in there and take a nap. Now, you all know I rise. I get up very early in the morning, and I also go to bed early as well. I also enjoy naps, and I can take a quick nap and be rejuvenated. So I can take a 10 or 15-minute nap and feel like I slept for 3 hours. So I would take a 15-minute nap almost every day. Woo, wake up feeling good. So I loved my government internship. Maybe you guys have some memories from when you had your first job and something happened similar, or maybe you just have a good memory with your coworkers. Let us know, share it in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed today's story, and I will talk to you next time.